Nice.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the Bear Facts on Guns, where host Derek Baer and his guests are locked and loaded to educate, inspire, and answer your questions about firearms. Today, caught in the wife's crosshairs. Ready? Aim, Derek.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We had a pretty heated show last episode and got in there. So I thought I'd have a nice little two-part week-by-week coverage on this. And I brought my wife here.
Hello.
So as you guys all know, I talk about my wife. She's on the show. She comments all the time, which is
Who
great.
We're going to have comment now.
Yeah. Who are we going to have? Oh, there's no comments yet. Oh, hey, babe. How are you? So she jumps on the show and talks through. She obviously listens to this at home a lot because we have gun discussions and gun topic conversations based on different things. And she's always sharing, obviously, different news and events and everything that happens in town. She's kind of part of the research department is what I'd call you with that as well. So we'll introduce where you, how long you've been shooting, what got you into guns, and you can't make funny faces. Nobody can see it.
Well, we are live.
We are live.
We are live. Facebook,
how long have I been shooting? 5 years?
Wow, that was a super confident answer.
Yeah, I would say about 5 years. I started off with Your Gun, which is a 9mm, and I didn't really like it starting off just because it was a bit too much for me. So then
I just want to take a special stop there and just say that my gun is too much for her to handle.
Yes.
Hey. Thanks, folks. Try the veal. He's here all night.
So
and that's why I'm married.
Then I went to a 38 special, which was still a bit much, and then down to a 22. And that's my favorite gun to shoot.
It's so funny because I love semi-automatic handguns and rifles and all that. Unless it's a long-range rifle, then it's more of I like the bolt action. I like the style of it. I like the feel of it. I like the slowness of it because it's long rifles are not, in my opinion, not meant to shoot fast. They're meant to be accurate and very detailed and calculated. And my wife was like, I don't like your gun. Can we do a revolver? Those are cool. And I'm like,
yeah.
They're hideous to me.
Oh, no,
I'm not a revolver
so cool.
fan. And you can only hit cold 6 bullets in it. I'm like, it's just impractical. What are we in 1970s and running around the FBI?
You don't like the fact that there's no safety on it, too.
Yours doesn't have a safety on it, which for a carry firearm, I always like to have something that has a safety on it. Just, another level of protection because obviously I'm not here to carry to use it. I'm here to protect myself.
It's a very
from
long trigger pull, though.
Yeah, it is.
So
what's that called?
I don't really worry about that.
What's that called? Double action. But that's it. Hey, Art, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And thank you for spelling my name correct. Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't. It's just, I don't know.
Do people mess up the word Kent?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times the T is left off.
Oh, Ken.
Oh,
Ken. Hey, Ken.
Okay,
Hey, Ken.
okay.
Hey,
Ken.
Ken and Barbie.
Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
Oh, I'm so calling you Ken from now on. Hey, Ken.
Hey,
So
Ken.
Ken. Hey, Ken. Hey, Ken.
Safeties are for Karens.
Exactly.
I can't wait to have Art on the show one of these days to go through because his.
I better get the censor button out.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Get it ready.
That political show will be very much non-political, very political. on there as well. So, what's your biggest takeaway from new gun ownership? So, the first time you shot my firearm, talk about that, and then work your way into, I guess, where your comfort level is now.
So obviously in the beginning, I was a newbie. I didn't grow up, around guns like you. We didn't have guns in the house, so it was definitely new for me. I didn't, like I said, grow up shooting or anything like that. Like you were shooting ever since you were how old? Like
I
6
came out
years
shooting.
old.
19 weeks
Yeah,
old.
so that was
There you go,
definitely
son.
a little scary, definitely a little intimidating going to the range and, things like that. Number one takeaway is gun safety, like for sure. Just learning all of the different like aspects of the gun, just from start to finish, learning how to clean it and things like that. I would say is like the biggest thing for me. And I've learned a lot about that.
Okay, I've got to ask.
Do it up.
So,
Yes,
y'all
it's
have
long.
been married for how long?
We've been married for this year is going to be 8 years
8
in
years.
September.
So you've been
Notice
married,
how I went
I have to
bird.
think about that.
you had been married 3 years, and this guy is sitting there watching Grey's Anatomy, taking apart guns, drive shooting, whatever you call that, and you're
Drive
like
Mhm.
McHottie's over here. But how comfortable were you with this guy just ripping apart guns in your living room while you're watching, Grey's Anatomy?
In the beginning, I mean, I wasn't like a huge fan just
No.
because, like I said, I didn't grow up around guns. So I was like, oh, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel a little uncomfortable, with it being in the house and everything like that. But as I got around it more and as we went to the range and I learned, more about it, it definitely became one of my hobbies as well, which
Okay.
is nice.
Yeah.
So it took a little getting used to, but I'm fine with it.
So I just want to give a big shout out to Daniel and Allison watching the show.
Hey.
Welcome in, guys.
Hi.
Art's kid's the most adorable. I got to see Allison today. She gave me a big hug. She's the sweetest girl in the world. And Daniel is a splitting image of Art. He's like a
I'm
mini me.
jealous.
It's ridiculous. And Art got a new haircut today. He walked in the office. I said, Daniel, did you get taller? Like, straight up looks like a son. So welcome in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll try to keep this PG, 15 or 16, I guess is what I'm going to go with that.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. You got to say it right. Wow.
Okay.
He's so good at it. What up, Keith? Welcome in. Hey, Mom. Welcome
Hi,
to the
Mom.
show. Obviously there too. So it's really funny because when I can still remember the day when I handed, Kiki at the range the first time.
Look at that beautiful girl.
Yes. Yeah, she is. My
Fine.
wife.
Finally, something to look at on the show.
Yeah, exactly. We don't. Do we fix the camera so it zooms into her,
so
not me?
much,
So, yeah, and my wife is gorgeous, and for those of you listening in there
Thank
too,
you.
and I
You guys
love
are
her.
making my head even bigger.
She
than
smells
it
good
already
too.
is.
Which
Yeah,
is nice.
she does smell. It smells a lot better than
Thank
me.
you so
Well,
much.
most of the
this
time.
is
Most
the
people
best
do.
smelling show we've had so far.
Exactly. We don't even need lights with all the brightness going in here. So the funny thing is when I first handed her the firearm and kind of went through the safety stuff and protocol, she was so scared. So I don't know.
Mhm.
We were dating. I mean, we've been together for like 15 years. So we got married 8 years ago. We've been together for 15. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Something like that. And I still have a video of Kiki when she shot her first gun ever.
It was a shotgun.
It was
in New York.
a 12 gauge pump action shotgun at my aunt's farm. And let me tell you something. I have the video clip, and
We're not going to play the video.
Oh, we are so playing a video clip because it was the best sound ever. So I'll pull it up in a second. So you can talk a little bit about what your experience was with that, and what did you do that day too? Oh, you're just gonna be quiet now because you don't want me to play this video.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You drove a tractor.
I did drive a tractor that day for the
John
first
Deere
time.
tractor, which
I
was
shot
cool.
a couple different guns.
Yep.
That was the first time I ever held a gun, so I was obviously very scared and nervous.
It was so awesome. So I have the video clip here. I'll see if I can play this real quick and see. Oh, hang on. I got to do this.
You messed it up.
Don't cry. You're okay.
Ha,
And I am holding her, right?
Yeah.
Because number one, 12 action shotgun you've shot has a pretty big kick to it.
Right, I was nervous
And
about
somebody
that.
not expecting that will get knocked on their butt real fast.
Yeah.
And it was funny because she, I'm scared I'm going to cry. And then she fired it and she goes, oh, it wasn't that bad. Which is most things, right?
Yeah.
So I always have to commend my wife. This is like the Kiki show today because my wife, although I get her into, it is a great video. Keith's seen it.
Thank you, Keith.
The most of the world has seen it, but so anything I put towards Kiki, she gets nervous. She has to get over her feels. She has to walk
I have
herself.
anxiety.
She has anxiety about it, but she always will do it, right? So, and I'm not putting her in harm's way. Riding a motorcycle, she never grew up
thing.
with motorcycles.
Mhm.
She never rode. She never, did any of that. And she's out there tooling around like she owns the place every single time she's on her bike, and she's awesome. at it.
I can. Yeah, she rolled in up on that party. A couple weeks
Yeah,
ago,
yeah,
right?
she,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes, she did.
Yeah.
That
I
was
was like,
fun.
well, dang.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
She has some fun with it. But that was a step process too. She did the same thing. I put her in the back of my crotch rocket when we first started dating. I bought my first bike with us. And she's crying in the helmet.
Yep.
Literally didn't even turn the bike on. Crying. So I didn't.
Also, never, just like I had never shot a gun, never ridden a motorcycle either.
Yeah.
So you
So,
wheelied
a lot
down
of-
the stairs?
No,
A lot
no,
of firsts.
Hang
for
on,
me.
huh?
I had to go around the block in first gear at 10 miles an hour
Quite a few times.
for about 2 days
Yeah.
to make sure that she was ready before we hit finally the thing. And then I just took
I
off
still
and
don't
said,
like
that's
being
it.
on your bike.
Hang
Yeah,
on.
I don't
Hang
like
on.
it either. Too.
Yeah.
So the progression of what she's done, and yeah, we started with a 9mm. We went to 38 special because that's the gun that she likes the most,
Mhm.
because she feels
Love
most
that
confident
gun.
with, and she loves it. And then we dropped down to 22, and it was really just because I wanted to make sure she was confident, right? So
Mhm.
she understood how it worked. She didn't have this recoil that was kicking her and making it, there. And people can give her shit all the time, and anybody can talk about that stuff when it comes to 22s
Yeah.
as being, well, you should just start with 38 and keep going. That's where, for me, I educate as much as I can with this kind of stuff, because it's the caliber size that is what's comfortable for you. Yes, I think carrying around a 22 as your side, as a tool to defend yourself, 22 bullets not going to do as much damage as a 38 special or a 9mm in a situation that you need to take action on. You're going to want that 38 on your
Mhm.
hip versus that. You say that, but if you watch any episodes of what damage a 22 does versus what damage a 38 does, there's a pretty big difference in that bullet. At the same time, we had a situation at the house the other day that I wasn't home. You
That
want to tell
was
a story?
yesterday.
It was yesterday. So go ahead. I just like to say the other day because I don't remember what day of the week it is.
It wasn't really
It's been
a
a
sit-
long week.
It wasn't really a situation. It was just some strange man walked up to the door, obviously wasn't expecting anyone,
Right.
and he goes, "Hello." And he's knocking, because we have a storm door. So he's knocking on the glass like really loudly and aggressively. And I'm like, of course, I'm looking from the cameras and I'm like,
Right.
who is this? So I was like, I'm not answering. Like, I don't
Yep.
answer the door if I don't know anybody. So I'm like, okay, do I go to the door with my mouse tool? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm like, probably not a good idea. So I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit here and not move. Like,
I like the first thing she goes to is, I'm just going to bring my firearm to the front door
That's it.
just in case.
Well, but you've got the Ring doorbell or something like that, right? Where
Yep.
you can see. You didn't talk to the guy, like,
No,
yeah,
so
state your purpose on my property
No.
before I open fire.
To be transparent, obviously we're building a studio out right now. So I was at the studio last night, and Kiki eventually calls me, right? And I get a text message. I get a text message that says, "Hey, someone's at the door." A text message.
Yeah.
That's not a text message conversation. That's a phone call.
well, he was like, you should have blown up my phone. And I'm like, I didn't feel like threatened. I
Right.
just
Good.
was like, I'm in my living room. I'm
At the
fine.
same time, I would
was
have
very
then
weird.
talked through that and been like, "Hey, can I help you?"
Yeah,
Yes,
he'll
I
usually
can.
do that.
And I usually do
me.
that first, right?
So then the priest left the Bible and said, "We'll see you at church."
That was the weird
Exactly.
thing. Like, he was wearing a hat. He was wearing a shirt. It looked like there was a small logo, but I couldn't make it out. And then he was wearing shorts, but he wasn't holding anything. Like, if it was like
trying to
somebody
sell
trying to sell something,
Mhm.
or I'm like, how after the storms, we had
Yeah.
that big storm, they'll come and they'll be like, oh, let's inspect the roof, like for roof damage, but they're holding a clipboard or paperwork, nothing. So it was just very odd.
That is odd.
But
Yeah.
it's a training thing for me. I take it as two ways. One, I don't know who this person is. Yes, I should have caught it, but at the same time, I was doing other stuff. But at the same time, I'm confident that my wife is going to know what she needs to do. And it happens, right? We
Mhm.
hear about stories all the
Yeah.
time. You think it's not going to be you. You want to plan for the worst.
No, it says
Yeah, go ahead.
prepare for the wait.
Oh yeah, now
shit.
you're gonna mess it all up.
Can I swear?
No, you
Yeah.
can't swear. You just bleeped it out. We just
Awkward.
got banned on Facebook. Thanks.
Um,
If you not watched the show every week.
So thanks for tuning
What
in.
does it
Yes,
say?
exactly.
Hey, Leaf, how are you?
How's the saying?
I don't know. I don't remember how the saying goes right now.
Leaf says, hey,
Plan for the best, prepare for the worst. Sorry.
There you
plan
go.
for the
Sorry.
best. Prepare for the
There
worst.
you
There you
go.
go. Leaf says, hey, that's a really sensible plan. I've heard some reasonable suggestions for legislation that requires you to work your way up from small, long gun calibers to high-powered handguns. Seems like a neat idea.
Yeah, it's funny, Leaf, you mentioned that because Illinois 2 days ago, I was just reading an article this morning about it, and 2 days ago, they are having a debate right now in Illinois to require training with any FOID card handgun purchases. So you actually are required to do training on there as well. Leaf, I can appreciate what you're saying and what you're trying to do with it, right? But it's a restriction, and the restriction needs to not be there. You can't force somebody to do something for a right that's yours already. So yes, there's training to have a driver's license. So we're talking about training. So 18.2 million guns were purchased last year alone. Okay, 18.2 million. Of those 18.2 million, there's been 274 mass shootings last year, which I dove into last week really hardcore. That those mass shootings, by the way, are 3 or more people being shot at or injured, not killed. And obviously we talked about the school shooting that happened in Texas as well, and in Buffalo. So if that's the answer to the problem, right? So if the problem is that we're having a gun issue, which, by the way, I made it pretty clear last week that I don't believe that we have a gun issue, right? We have a human being issue. 42,000 people died because of gun violence last year alone, and of that 42,000, 60% of it was suicide. So is training really the right thing that we need to do? Do we need to be trained and work from small caliber to large caliber? Now, I don't disagree with you on a personal level, right? So I think that there's certain calibers you should work your way from and learn to. You don't jump into.
Well, let's hold. I like what he's saying there too, but let me approach this maybe from a different standpoint.
Shoot away.
So go 7 years ago.
Yep.
And that same guy's beating on your door. You don't have a gun because you hadn't got into guns at that point. Do you feel different at that point than you did the other day when you were like, you know what? I know where my Mouseketeil is. I'm going to be all right. And I'm just not going to answer the door. Or when you didn't have it, would you, oh my God, there's somebody at the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel?
Definitely it gives me more confidence now, like being comfortable around a weapon. And obviously I don't want to have to use it, but I know that if it comes down to it and I have to use it to protect myself or my family, I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you might cry while you're doing it, from what I understand from the earlier conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry.
I might,
It's the best video ever.
That would be very traumatic, but you got to do what you got to do.
But no, I do. I understand what Leaf is saying too, because you like the 22. It's a tool, right? In the trades, you can get a 16-ounce hammer, you can get a 22-ounce hammer, you can get a sledgehammer.
Yep.
And I've seen guys do finish work with a 22-ounce hammer.
Sure.
Because they know how to work that tool.
Yep.
It's whatever tool that you're very comfortable with.
Yep.
Right. So I'm it is that way, but it's not saying, hey, listen, you got your driver's license. Great. We're going to start you off in a golf cart because it's very slow.
Yep.
And then once you've driven the golf cart for, I don't know, 8 years, we'll let you get up to a smart car.
Sure.
Right. And then after that, you see where I'm going.
I 100% agree. Now, I at a personal level, on that same part with the car conversation, I don't think anybody should go out there and buy a 700 horsepower Hellcat as their first 16-year-old car. I know me, myself, you're going to wrap that thing around a tree because you have no idea how to handle that much power. And same with firearms too, right? So I think there's a progression that kind of goes from it. I'm a huge advocate on pump action shotguns, on bolt actions. I'm actually a big advocate when it comes to single action, double action revolvers. Same with driving a car. I think every kid personally should be required to drive a stick shift car before they drive anything automatic. One, you're in tune with the car. You understand how it works from start to finish. And my wife will disagree with that because she hates driving stick cars and she refuses to learn because she just doesn't like it.
It's a dying art, by the way.
Okay,
They're
cool.
so
Still
fun.
an art. But we grew up driving stick cars and we're 10% now. We have 10% of the population knows how to get in a stick shift car and drive it. And
Double
if it was
clutching, downshift,
double clutching, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
too much work for me.
All right, Fast and Furious.
And that was in my Chevette.
So, but who's in to tell you that you need? The government can't come to you right now as a driver's license and say a 16-year-old kid cannot drive a 700 horsepower car. They can't. So, and by the way, as to my point last week, okay, 42,000 deaths in firearms, right? 60% of that is suicide. So we're going to do just some quick math on that. And I can't right now because my head is spinning with other numbers in there. So I'll just do it real quick. Times 60%. So 25,000 minus the 42,000 is what the number is. So 16,800.
16-ish.
Okay. 16 and some change. So I'm going to put 16,800 as actual gun violence in some way, shape, or form that was malicious in nature. Okay. Murder, mass suicides or mass murder, whatever you want to call it on there as well. You also got to remember there's 1,400 of that, by the way, is concealed carry legal shootings. Okay. So these are
Where
people
it was
that
justified
shooting. Great words. See, my wife is such a good person with that stuff. She gets my words.
Brilliant.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's my right hand. So if we start restricting, right, that, so the car deaths that were last year were 42,000. Okay. So those are people that physically died in a car, 42,000. And there's and there might be some suicide numbers in there. It's not even close to the suicide numbers from guns.
Sure.
So why isn't there restrictions on cars then, is my question. So if we put restrictions and legislations going through and talking about having to start with a low caliber handgun in Illinois is physically having a conversation, say you need training on it as well. In New York, when I grew up, you didn't need any training for driver's license. You needed a day. You needed to be 16, take your permit. You have a permit for a day, and you go in the next day and you get your driver's license. And mom and dad taught you and said, hey, yep, you're safe to drive. Now, do I agree with that? No, because honestly, a car is a very powerful thing, and I don't think anybody should be out there, driving 70 miles an hour with no training on it.
A 3-ton bullet.
Yeah. Right. And I don't disagree with that conversation when it comes to like, hey, you should have gun training. It should be required to buy purchase a firearm. The problem with it is that you have to go back to your constitutional rights. That's what keeps ringing in my head from Uncle Pete is, hey, constitutional rights tell me I have the right to bear arms. There's no ill any way around it. It should not be infringed. So if we start putting restriction on it, we're just going to keep putting more restrictions on it. We're talking about an assault rifle, but nobody can define an assault rifle. I've literally asked, Prisker was on Twitter the other day talking about assault rifles, and I literally...
AR stands for assault.
Oh, yeah, so does, yeah, because it doesn't, people.
Right.
So I asked him that question, can you please define a assault rifle? And I got 10 likes and a couple comments on it, but he never answered that question because he can't.
Right.
Nobody can.
It's just hard because it feels like with all of these new like laws that they're trying to put into place and restrictions, it's like punishing the responsible gun owners. At the end of the day, if someone wants to commit a crime with a gun, they're going to find a way to get that gun. I mean,
and I like what you say there, and that's the truth. They're trying to punish everyone for a few.
For the bad apples.
Yeah, for a few bad, and that's what they say, right? One bad apple spoils the whole cart.
Correct.
But the interesting thing Art says is, mental evaluation should be a must for the gun purchase, and that's an interesting concept as well.
It is. So
it's almost like an interview, though, right? Like I feel like with something like that, like with interviews, like you can do a great interview, like you can pass like, this mental evaluation, but it doesn't mean that you're right upstairs.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's kind of hard for me.
How do you stop
like who's going to judge?
How do you stop a serial killer? How do you find a serial? How do you
a killer
identify
in general?
Correct. So a killer is the big thing.
I hate to bring this up.
Hey, Lise, what's up? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining in. So
there she is. Yeah. Okay, so this is really hard for me to talk about because I've been really upset about it for the past couple of days, but I'm sure you've heard about the story about the father in Round Lake Beach that murdered his three young children. I think it was like ages 2, 3, and 5. He drowned them in the bathtub it makes, even just to say it right now, like my voice is trembling, like I feel sick. I feel absolutely sick to my stomach. He didn't use a gun. Like, and there was no history of like any mental issues. I guess the police said that they never had any run-ins with the family. Like, you know how sometimes with things like that, they're like, oh, CPS had been called like 20 times, or like the cops had been called to the house for domestic violence. No, him and his wife were in the middle of a divorce separation. And he literally, I guess, left a note that said that he did it. I have goosebumps. To basically hurt her, because he knew that that was how, you know, he would get to her or whatever.
That story.
So it's like, if you're going to do something bad, you're going to figure out a way to do it.
I almost feel physically sick.
Exactly.
Because Dad, I've got 4 kids.
Right.
And let me tell you, they're the world. I mean,
right.
They're the reason that my wife and I get up every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 3 of them are basically out of the house, but at the same time, I know. I don't even know.
It's like divorce is hard, right? Getting picked on in school is hard. Being bullied. This kid from Texas used a stolen credit card to buy a firearm. Number one, should have never been purchased. This kid should not have been able to to purchase this firearm at all. The gun shop definitely is to blame for certain parts of this as well. But to answer your question, Art, and I want to get to him real quick, and then we'll get to Mom's comment here, is Art, who evaluates and how do you define mental evaluations?
Right.
So if you can answer,
and then who pays for that?
And who pays for it, right? And you could say that the person buying the gun should pay for it and pay for his mental evaluation. But if you're paying for it, right? Just remember that if you're paying for it, the person giving the mental evaluation is looking for monetary. So they might just pass it through because they want more people to go there and say, yeah, this guy went and they did a mental evaluation and I'm crazy, but I got through. I just paid him an extra $50 to make sure that he said I was good. Who polices the police is the conversation I'm getting to right there. So who polices that as well? So what did Mom say?
Everybody can be.
So Tammy says in 2008, case District of Columbia versus Heller, the Supreme Court held that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with his service in a militia and to use that arm for traditionally lawful purposes such as self-defense within the home. Purpose of right to carry arms for lawful use. So we'll never control unlawful people. They will find a way.
Exactly.
Now, interestingly enough, our good friends to the north now just said you cannot, absolutely, they just passed the law. You cannot defend yourself with a firearm.
Wow.
You can have firearms for hunting and sport, but not to defend yourself.
What are you supposed to defend yourself with?
A spoon.
Can I carry a knife on me then?
Well,
yeah. Well, so
a butcher knife.
And then Trudeau or whoever the guy is up there continued to go on about. Well, we're starting to get a lot of weird ideas. Canada.
Oh, like,
Canada. Actually,
like,
Canada is
way up north.
If you want to pay attention to what is happening to America right now, and with different laws and what they're trying to do, watch Canada. Because they're doing it, by the way, and Canadians are going, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
You do not want to live in a world like that, because to answer your question, right? So the illegal person that is trying to murder you, okay, that does not care about the laws. Are you going to tell them, no, there's a law that says you can't murder me with a gun.
Yeah.
You can only murder me with a knife.
I'm not a moose.
A fork, a non-firing firearm.
Yeah, hold on a second. I got to go get a different weapon.
Yeah. Let me just put this gun down. Assault rifle, by the way, that it becomes an
Let's
assault.
Just go back to bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, bare knuckle boxing. What'd you say?
Leaf has a comment that we missed, I think.
No, I just don't. He's talking about KG.
Oh yeah. He just said what aboutisms is a KGB tactic. Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
What you were saying, hey, what about this and that with cars?
Oh, okay, cool. So he's saying KGB is what he's saying.
Yeah, it's a different tactic.
That's cool. I'm tacticking. By the way, the country is tactically attacking our rights, and we're allowing it to happen.
Well, now again, for the record, I don't own a firearm. I do. Let me take that back. I do have a pump BB gun and an airsoft pistol.
He has a great firearm over there that's got a sticky thing in
I
front
got
of it
one
too.
here.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
good. It's a scary
Nice.
one.
It's not loaded right now.
It's a little scary though. I'm not gonna lie.
I keep
I
it here
feel
in
a
the
bit
producers. Keep it
uncomfortable.
here in the producers booth because you never
Yes.
know.
Hey, got some crazies out there.
Keep
But,
that fucking thing on you.
Here's the I guess I get frustrated because I don't own guns, and that's fine.
Sure.
Right. I've gone shooting with you at the range. I've gone hunting when I was a kid. You know, we hunted quail, squirrel, things like that.
Sure.
We did it. Of course, gun safety, all that. And somebody's dad was like, "Hey, make sure you know what you're doing." Da, 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 da.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. I'm saddened when there's anything done wrong to anybody.
Sure.
Right. No matter how
Mhm.
it's done wrong.
Yep.
I'm saddened when someone drinks too much and then gets in a car.
Sure.
And causes may not even cause harm to anybody and gets pulled over, thank goodness, but it's still very saddening to me because the potential to cause harm is there.
Mhm.
And I think we've all sat there, as we're driving home, maybe from a vacation or something. It's 1 a.m. and the headlights coming at us, and you're like, please don't let that person be drunk or sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all said that.
Yep.
I too have also been in a situation where I've had a gun pulled on me point blank. We've talked about it on previous shows.
Sure.
And when that happened, again, if the guy's like, listen, you need to shit a golden egg, I'd have done my best to shit a
I'm brewing, bro. I'm brewing hard.
Prairie dog right now.
It might be brown, but it'll be golden brown. I did have corn for lunch.
But we have certain inalienable rights. We have rights that the founders of this country were wise enough to put in place to help protect us from ourselves.
Correct.
Okay. And yes, there are issues and there are bad people that do things with firearms, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. It means that action was bad.
Sure.
Okay. You own a business. You have said things to your employees that afterwards you wish you could pull back.
Many times.
We all do that.
Yep.
Right. So people react differently in weird situations. Unfortunately, what we don't do is we meaning the media and 2116 is part of the media. We don't go, hey, a single mother protected her family with the Second with the Second Amendment right, and took out this person who wanted to do extreme damage to her family.
Sure.
What we say is, well, little Greek gal killed the guy.
Yep. Because it looks better.
Sounds
better. It's catchier. It makes people click on it. It makes people pay attention to it. You get in there. And by the way, I tell this all the time about, especially, literally tells me all the time, right? So that media is marketing on a bigger level.
A huge grandstand.
All they're trying to do is sell you stuff. They want you to click on the ad. They want to click on the clickbait, right?
Yeah.
And the reason they want you to click on a clickbait is because there's an ad buried somewhere in that ad, somewhere in that story. And that story is paying, that ad is paying for that story to be run. And that story getting run is getting paid more because of the amount of people that click on that ad.
Yeah.
Just like the old saying, sex sells. You put a beautiful woman with huge knockers in front of you in a bathing suit and say, I got brand new baby formula.
But what is a woman?
Oh, correct. Well, nowadays I don't know what to say anymore.
Sorry,
it's okay. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. We're not gonna go to this rabbit hole.
All right.
So we put the mom that's wearing mom's clothes and covered up and with the baby and say, hey, we have great formula. The one with the big boobs is gonna sell better. It's just how it's gonna work. Even from the women that are saying, oh, that's disgusting, you're still buying it, and you're buying it because there's a big chested woman in front of you and looks good and it looks healthy and everything else. Dads will go in, hey, I'm going to go get baby formula this weekend.
I got to get some Coors Light.
I cannot believe how much baby formula has been sold because of this advertisement. So, but that stuff is what it comes down to. What is, what What did Art say before? It said something about being worthless.
Yeah,
What are you not worthless? That Art's
no,
oh, that's Keith.
That's Keith.
Oh, he's
Oh,
talking
I'm
about
like,
you.
Art.
Yeah,
I thought Art was saying
he
that.
says he tells me I'm worthless.
Verbal abuse.
Oh yeah, okay,
which,
sure.
Which the comment was, I'm sure you say something about your employees that you wish you could get back.
Yeah,
He may not wish that he could get that one
You
back.
say it in the heat of the moment.
Art says they show statistics of how many times a firearm was misused to harm people, but they never give statistics of how many times the legal gun saved someone's life. Now, and let's stop right there and unpack that for a minute.
Sure.
We love the police.
Oh yeah.
The police are armed.
Yep.
We love the Secret Service that surround our president.
Yep.
And hierarchy of government, and they are armed.
Yep.
We love our military who allow us put their life on the line, who are super duper armed.
Yep.
Yet we want to eliminate the ability for all those people to be armed.
Yep.
Because of a few bad apples.
Right.
But we talked about this, went through, and I know this is going to tie into Phil's show for tomorrow for Bridge and Civil Tension, which is an amazing show. What's that?
I've got a meeting. We're doing a best of. So.
Oh, you're doing best of. Sorry. But it's still Friday, so it's still good. Friday. Whatever. But we talk about defunding the police.
Yeah.
We're defunding the police because of a few bad apples, a few bad police officers, by the way, who, and I'm going to throw this out there because this is super relevant. You ready for this? Pay attention, folks. The police go through training. The police go through mental evaluations. The police go through psychological evaluations. They go through physical evaluations.
An academy, if you will.
Yes. So the police academy to deem you as a public servant and a public safety. Guess what, folks? There's still a percentage of those police that fake their way through it and have ill intentions to hurt or harm other people. At the same time, I'm going to bring up situation, right? So we're situations, saying things you don't mean to say, doing things that you were. This might trigger some people out there, but I'm just going to say it. George Floyd is a trigger point for me. George Floyd, the officer, definitely did not do his conduct and what he needed to do. At the same time, George Floyd absolutely did not comply in any way, shape, or form to make himself available for the police. And he had a history of, yes, he was on drugs. So it's unfortunate.
We idolized him in the media.
We did idolize him. We didn't idolize him. The media idolized him as well. And Ken's going to explode over there for a second. He's got his mouth taped right now. It's quite funny. So it's hard for me. I don't condone him in, but that's one police officer. This guy got a gold casket. He's got a freaking statue up right now. And he was a history of drugs and crime for something that happened. And I don't want to make it political. I'm just going to say it's a bad apple. And we have turned this person into an icon of gun violence, police brutality, and everything else, when the percentage of actual police brutality towards black people is not as high as it is with whites.
Right.
So there's a lot of misconstruing in the media because it sells. It's interesting. You want it to be that way. It's so funny that the media, we talk about the end of the world all the time.
Yeah.
We're dying for a zombie apocalypse, dying for it. We, as the people, are saying, hey, we want an end of the world scenario. We want it. We make movies. We make videos. We make series. We make collectibles and guns out of that and everything else. And we sell everything in the world. And we're just waiting for the day that the world's going to collapse. And we can jump into the fact that, hey, I can use all this cool tactical stuff that I've put away for years and bunkers and everything else. We're giving it to ourselves. We're creating our own problem with this kind of stuff as well. And we just don't realize that we're giving that on there also. And Keith, you're not worthless at all. You're my buddy and you know that. So that's it. So can you throw up Art's comment real quick? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, he says the police were just standing outside of Texas school for an hour while the kids were getting killed.
Did you hear that? Did you hear this? What happened? Oh, there's more and more unfolding. So I'll keep as I find out more information. Did you know that they are not releasing the body cams at all for the Texas shooting?
Why not?
Good question. They're not releasing the body cams.
Yeah.
Why would they not do that?
Well, perhaps they weren't working.
How can we be
Oh.
lenient?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
And we talk about that a lot on the bridge, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Just happened to all of a sudden go glitchy on
Mhm.
you. The other is perhaps it could, if that were to get out, it could sway any type of hearing or anything that may happen, you know, in the future.
So the January 6th hearings that were blasted everywhere and all the videos out there to sway people one way, it doesn't matter when they're on trial right now?
I don't know anything that happened.
Oh.
I don't.
There's a big trial going on for January 6th.
I was more important. I was wondering about the poop on the sheets with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was very publicized.
Yeah.
That was a train wreck.
Yeah, and there is a lot of missteps there. But again, we're going to go back to, listen, I just spent the weekend up in Door County with my wife, in towns that a population of 1,183.
The best towns.
Uvalde is a very small town.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that Barney, who's the sheriff there in a town of 1,183, might freeze if there's a mass quote unquote shooting in a restaurant, because he's like, I didn't sign up for this. That's why I'm in a town of 1,183. So there's a lot of things. Bottom line is this, and here's the thing that sucks about the gun quote unquote violence. Is that we are always trying to pit somebody at fault.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't talk about the gentleman who kicked the door down and killed the killer.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't praise him that he had a gun.
Yep.
And he was able to do that.
And by the way,
Right?
that could have been a lot worse if he didn't do that.
It's a tragedy.
Oh, for sure.
It is a tragedy, as tragic as it gets, right? But the bottom line is we want to pin something on someone else on the other side of things.
Sure.
Now,
someone has to pay.
Right. Now it's 6:40 here on a Thursday, and your guy Alec Baldwin still walking.
We always message him.
We can't get away with it.
No.
And the reason I say that is
that dude needs to be in jail.
And the reason I say that is, our good friend Tom Cruise just made a lot of money.
Of course he did.
And
by the way, those are big guns.
Yeah.
And flying around in jets.
So to prepare for things, and he's even got it out there. Tom Cruise gets firearms training from a former British SAS operator.
Mm-hmm.
That's
strange.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, at the same time, I don't know his stance on gun control.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if his stance is, and this is just what I want people are always saying, oh, what about this? What about this?
Yep.
Well, here's the deal. If you went to that movie that put money in his pocket, if he is for or he's against, you just supported a guy, you know what I'm saying? Who now has got more millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to be able to go out there and say whatever he wants to say and throw it around, which then you're gonna be like, oh man, that guy's a jerk. You really? Because you just paid.
Watched his movie,
Yeah,
which just paid him. We did watch the movie. It was a good movie. It was
It was a good movie.
Way too late to come out, by the way. It should have been out like 10, 15 years ago. I don't know.
It's probably 30 years too.
Yeah, it's 30 years. So everyone watched it for the nostalgic part of it, but they did tie in some good stuff, and there were some good actors in it too.
First movie.
You didn't like Top Gun?
No.
What?
Yeah.
You just don't like the Need for Speed stuff. So
I'm not a big movie guy.
You're not a movie?
No.
Really?
Oh, we love movies.
I'm not a big movie guy. I like the funny ones and Pixar's and things like that.
Pixar's good. Pixar has great. I love
that's a
their
whole
quality of Pixar, which is good.
It's
funny because there's certain you talk about that, right? And I have a lot of gun enthusiasts that are in my life that are around me and talk about stuff. And I go say exactly what you said. I just watched a movie. Can't believe you support that company.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're anti-gun. Holy cow. First off, didn't know they were anti-gun. Second off, I'm not going to live my life under that microscope where I have to do a background check on every single thing that I need to do. I'm just going to watch a movie because it's good. It happens a lot. Well, it's true, right? It happens a lot. People go out there and they support different things based on it is. And those are pretty far right people, right? So the people that live in the right world all the time. and they don't.
Or
They
the far
do
left.
that.
They both.
And
Yeah.
the far left has their own things that they do. They won't support different things. There's a perfect example. It's really sad to me because the town that we live in is Buffalo Grove, and Buffalo Grove has this huge movement for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
And they actually got the Pride Parade to go through there and stuff like
nice.
that, since it is Pride Month. So, happy Pride Month to those people
That's
that do that. And the sad part is there's a Chick-fil-A that's opening
Ooh.
in Buffalo Grove.
Everybody's up in arms.
The
Oh,
community is
They're-
in a
they're
huge that
very
they
upset.
would even let this happen.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, Chick-fil-A is obviously a major corporation. They are you can't just give the answer. You gotta work
Sorry,
it up.
I was
I
getting
love her.
excited.
She's
I love
just
it.
like got franchise.
Here, I'll
That's the
just turn
answer.
it- Go ahead. I turn him off. Go ahead.
15 years, she knows
Mute him.
exactly what
I
her
did.
rules are.
I muted him. So no. Go ahead, Kiki.
I'm taking over.
You're more attractive anyway.
I'm the
so.
captain now.
I'm the
That's
captain.
right. She's driving
I'm
this
the
boat.
captain now.
That's-
So they're talking about this. You're talking about a business that is going to, number one, make great food, employ people in the town, pay them,
Revenue.
create revenue for the town, tax dollars, be able to get people to go to the town to see more things. And all you're doing is paying attention to the major corporations' views on political views.
They
of what
they actually sell crack.
Oh, they do. It's
Chick-fil-A.
bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's
I love it.
it and it's the sauce.
Yes. it
They
is.
can be
The
mad.
chick-
I'm still
I
gonna go
put
there
it
and
on
have my
everything.
chicken sandwich.
Yeah, but here's the
Right.
thing. Like, I am no way, shape, or form, and it's hard for my
Yeah.
right people because they typically are.
Yeah,
against that
but
kind of
but
stuff.
here's the interesting thing.
I'm not that person.
And let's talk about that. You're talking about people taking away your freedom.
Yes,
Guess what?
this dude wants to open a franchise in Buffalo Grove, and you want to shut him down.
But and go back to the movies.
Yes.
If you go, man, you know what? I think I would enjoy that movie. I'm not going to go because I'm not going to support what he stands for.
Yes.
You've allowed him to take away one of your freedoms,
Yeah.
True.
right?
Your freedom to go to the movie.
Right.
So you're just gonna pick and choose your whole life
Right.
and live that way. How about you just go to movies
It's
and
just
enjoy?
exhausting.
Just go and
Yeah,
enjoy.
Yes,
just
Some
and
enjoy
you're
life.
right. Yes, you're gonna go
It's
support this guy,
fictitious.
and you're gonna give this thing. How about just you go to the movie because you like the movie because it sounded good, it looks good, the trailer was done right, you care about that.
Right.
The new Avatar is coming out. Kiki is not an
Oh, the
Avatar
blue
fan.
one, the blue avatar.
The blue Avatar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Avatar
That
2.
was cool.
Kiki's not gonna watch it, but I'm 100% going to the movie theater. I
Yeah.
love the first movie. It was one of the
It was
most.
cool.
Weird.
still to
Very
this
weird
day-
To me.
I
don't
like
know.
sci-fi stuff, so I'm a huge sci-fi
Yeah.
fan. But if you watch that movie to this day and put it against any digital movie that's out there right now, it still beats it.
It's right up there.
100%. The amount of work and energy. And by the way, they've been working on this movie since the day they stopped the last one. So it's not like they said, "Oh, we're going to take a hiatus," like Top Gun. They literally have been digitally making this
How
movie.
many years ago was that? It's a
I
long
don't know,
time.
like 10,
A long
15
time
years
ago.
ago. It's like 2003. I think it's been a long
Jeez.
time too. Way off on there. So we got some comments that came in too. So let's jump to those.
Yeah,
Start
Keith-
with Art. It's like
Yeah. Well, the police stand outside, and Keith
Yep.
says apparently a mother was handcuffed and let her go. Because they
Yep.
were
Yep.
trying to fight her back. Yeah.
Yep.
Seriously, it shouldn't matter if they build there.
Yep,
I
correct.
bet
Exactly.
those people that are against Chick-fil-A go there and eat.
It's 2009. Good job, Art. I'm glad you
So,
knew
yeah,
that.
so 13 years.
But I mean,
Wow.
they've spent that much time actually
Right.
building it, and they said they were going to, and it's
Yeah.
going to take a long time because there's each detail of that movie, every part of it. If you put that on like a 10K screen, right, like the highest resolution screen you can get, like $80,000 television, you will see all the masterpiece that they made. So they made
Yeah.
these forever. Like you can watch these for the next 100 years and still find details about this movie that are incredibly perfect, which is why I love the movie. I don't know what their freaking views are. I don't care
Okay.
at all. So you're restricting a freedom. So you're restricting a business that's coming into a town that literally has no downtown, by the way. And now they're starting to talk about the downtown project, and they're going to be building out. I think it's approved or whatever the plans are. It's funny how you allow one thing and then you're mad about it.
Okay, wait. Can I play devil's advocate for a second, though?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's real good at this,
So,
by the way.
Here's a good example.
Yes,
though.
honey, you're right. Oh,
Here's
sorry.
a good example there.
Okay, go ahead.
So when we were having this whole situation with the
Here we go.
restaurants,
Yep, here we go. It's true. Yep.
It was like the mandate where you had to show your vaccine card in
Mhm.
order to eat
Kryptonic.
inside.
Oh, she's gonna
You
burn.
haven't let me go to Portillo's since then because the one in Arlington
Bury
Heights
me.
was literally they had someone standing at the door asking to see your vaccine card before you could go in there and get food.
But I
And you did
identify
the
as
same
being
thing with Walker
vaccinated.
Brothers.
First of all, Let the woman go
So
to
let's talk
Portillo's.
about that.
What's that?
Why are you keeping it from Portillo's?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't
for
had
real.
Portillo's since or Walker Brothers.
Oh my God, dude. Good
So
idea.
you
So,
forbade us to go
Here's
there.
here's what I appreciate your devil advocate, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with my wife.
Had I known that, are you going to be at the new studio tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
I'll bring you some Portillo's.
Ooh,
Just tell
cheese
me what.
fries.
Tell me what cheese
Large
fries. You
cheese
tell
fries.
me. I'm
Yeah.
just. You don't have
That's
to go.
what I
I'll
miss the
go for
most.
you.
Here's the difference, right? So I appreciate
Please,
your devil's
do
advocate.
tell.
Here's the difference.
I'm the man.
It's because I said so.
Damn it.
They restricted me. I didn't restrict them. They told me. So unlike me going out and vetting them to see if they are correct with what my values are, what my beliefs are versus what they are, because number one, I don't have time
They
to
didn't
go
do it up
research
here
them.
in McHenry.
But there's not a Portillo's in McHenry.
Yeah, well, there's
Yeah,
one
they
in Crystal
did
Lake.
it in
But
Cook
did they-
County and Lake County.
But they did. I think all of Portillo's did it. So it was a company-wide initiative.
got it.
So what I did,
I
what
think it depends. I think he's right. It depends on the county.
well, I'm not going to drive to freaking McHenry to support like
Get you some cheese fries.
Yeah, I get,
It'd be
it's,
cold
it's,
by the
it's
time we get
freaking
home.
Oh,
three-
yeah,
it's 3
gross.
minutes from the house.
It
So-
literally
Hey,
is.
you know what a hack is though? You turn on your heated seat. You put the fries right on your heated seat. They'll stay warm until you get home.
Interesting.
Think about that.
I
Think
just,
about
put
Okay.
it, I just put it in between my legs.
All
So my theory on this and why I'm so upset and why I stopped doing it is because of the fact that they took a freedom away from me and they restricted me to go spend money at a place based on something that was a test, right? And I know we had many conversations about different things. It's different than me going to somebody and restricting like not going to support something as well.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to not support you. I'm actually trying to support you during a very difficult time when restaurants are failing left and right. You
True.
just decided to take the side that was not for business and not for your customers based on whatever, and you restricted me from going in there. So for me, you've taken that freedom away for me to choose because I'm not wearing the right color shirt. I'm not the right color. I'm not the right nationality based on an injection that is in testing still. So it's a little different for me, and I won't support somebody that is taking
Right.
that media attention and using it against me on my business. And the argument there, because we can get real down a rabbit hole then too, is that LGBT community with Chick-fil-A is coming down to, oh, well, that's their values. So if you support their values, you're supporting their business, which is making their values, and they can spend money and do whatever.
Mhm.
How about I'm just supporting a restaurant that's a franchise that's trying to make it and cares about it?
Yeah, you're supporting
And
the owner.
I'm pretty sure there's LGBT community members that own Chick-fil-A's.
Yes,
or
there is.
work at
They've talked
Chick-fil-A's.
about it. Mhm.
So are you supporting it or not supporting it? And things change, right? And corporations change and values change and leadership change. If that leadership changes and says, hey, I don't agree with the last leader that said X, Y, and Z, are you now all of a sudden going to support Chick-fil-A because they've changed their values? Or are you going to go back on like we're doing right now and rip statues down from 100 years ago based on the beliefs of 100 years ago that have changed, but the iconic change is what the statue is there for? This is what I'm kind of getting at, right? We're like focusing on the wrong stuff here. We're literally focusing on the 1%. I talk about this all the time. America loves to focus on the 1% problem rather than the 99% good that's out there. Okay. We have cops shooting basketballs with community members. Everyone knows me and the police are not the best of friends in the driving world. I lost my license a couple times, getting runs in with some stuff like that. At the same time, I respect them. I appreciate that they're there. I would never want to remove them. And at the end of the day, it's my freaking fault.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a couple bad eggs and it's bad, but I still want them around. What's wrong?
Hey, Roger.
Welcome to the show, Roger.
Welcome in, my
Hi,
friend.
Raj.
If the government believes that the correct age to own an
Yes.
assault-style gun is 21, how can the same short-sighted officials support 18 as okay for allowing you to enter the military and give you the gun?
Cha-ching. That's a dunk shot
Mic
right there.
drop.
Ready for this? Why can you be 18 years old in the military and not have a beer? You're about to go put your life on the line for the country, and you can't even have an alcoholic beverage at 18 years old because 21 is the right age to do different things. But mind you, a 14-year-old can pick his sex in school, and the school openly tells to do this. I know I talked about this last week. It's really irritating to me. The mindset of a child is the mindset of a child. There's supervisions. You don't have any rights till you're 18 for a reason. Your mental capacity is not
Or
there yet.
change their religion.
What's that?
Or change their religion.
Or change their religion. There's no foreshadowing for that one.
Right. So again, when it comes down to the
Who
debate
is?
on
Okay.
when it comes down to the debate on firearms, it comes down to it's like the debate on Roe v. Wade. It's never going to come to a middle and everybody kumbaya.
Yep.
You have to follow the money. You have to take a look at who is spending money with who.
Yes.
And that's it. That's just the bottom line. What we have to say is with the Second Amendment is that it is one of our rights.
Yes.
Right. And that's just the bottom line.
46 years this dude's
Mhm.
been in the public eye, correct? Is that 46 years?
The
current, I can't say the name.
The
the
sitting
current
president,
The current administration has been in
50.
50 something years, 50 years, has been fighting this fight for 50 years.
Yeah.
Why are we allowing taxpayer dollars to continue a fight that's taken 50 years long? I guarantee you there's a monetary value on this exact process as well.
Absolutely.
Why are we going to do that?
Right.
And Art did ask a question, what are the views of Chick-fil-A? So Chick-fil-A is a corporation, does not like the LGBT community because they are Christians, and Christians do not believe in gays, homosexuality at all. Okay, so up for interpretation, right? So hard thing. The traditional, this is my world right now. The traditional
the
Christian,
the Christian owners
Yes.
of Chick-fil-A, I
Yes.
think is ways it's hard to lump everybody in there.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So
The current leaders of
Right.
Chick-fil-A.
The
do not-
leaders.
so
Well, they are. They're the leaders. Yeah.
So
Come to
Kiki,
me,
Sounds like
my
a
leader.
cult.
Kiki, what's the answer? How does it get fixed? How do we fix the debate and make it go away? This is, after all, we brought you in for this exact question.
Yeah.
What?
Something like that airtime right now.
Yeah.
How do you fix
The
problem?
The problem.
gun problem?
How do we fix the gun problem?
Yeah.
Take away the guns from everyone.
Oh, wow. That's a great one.
Just kidding.
That's good.
You can't.
Yes.
At the end of the day,
Correct.
like I said, if someone wants to obtain a gun illegally, not going through the proper channels, or like felons, for example, not supposed to have firearms, they're going to get it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
how many people do we know that are
can-
not supposed to have
listen.
a gun and they do?
Listen,
I don't know
a
anybody
bad
like
person found
I
a
do.
tub full of water.
Yep.
I mean, crazy ass people are going to find ways to do crazy ass things.
Mhm.
Sure.
Period. No matter what they use. Right. Now I can tell you, I've never been bent to the point where I'm like, I need to get a gun.
Yep.
And shoot somebody.
Sure.
I haven't been bent to that point. Doesn't mean that other people aren't.
Right.
But if I ever did get bent to that point, you know what I would do? I would find a way to find it.
Exactly.
Right.
Love art.
And now that people can 3D print them, we've talked about that on this show.
Yep.
I've got friends,
Mhm.
ex-military friends. Like, listen, I'm like, well, maybe I should get one. If a civil war, he goes, hey, I've got a lot of ex-military friends. Like, if there's a civil war, you just pick them up off the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it works, though.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why people buy certain firearms too, by the way, because
Right.
it's the most sold one, and they can just know they can pick up clips on there too.
Yes.
Art said a great comment. So he goes, maybe purge day once a year would help. There's a whole movie on that too. And by the way, who knows? Maybe that is the answer, and you just get it out of your system, and you don't have any more violence and stuff like that. I'm gonna leave a topic on the table here. We talk about mass shootings.
Mhm.
What have we not talked about here? That it's been portrayed in the media. It's been started, right? They've talked about it. It's happened a lot, and it's massive casualties. What am I talking about? Anybody? Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about the Boston Marathon bombing. We talk about the bombings, suicide bombings, and everything else like that. They just leave backpacks, and they, to this day, I still do not feel comfortable in a crowd more than 100 people ever. I do not
never
want to
have.
be.
Yeah. When was the last time we went to a concert?
Okay.
I've
It's-
never
Yeah.
been.
Okay. So
Those days are long gone.
and that was used a gun, right? So that was used. The Las Vegas shooting was a gun.
Yeah.
The guy was nuts and everything else. There's a whole backstory with that too. Here, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Air quotes insert.
Right.
So what are we doing to prevent bombings? Because bombings are just as easy as picking up a firearm. And by the way, you can go to Home Depot right now and build a bomb. And by the way, nobody will check you.
Mhm.
Nobody will ask you what you're doing with certain materials. You buy certain products at certain
Well,
times.
yeah, I will. Back in the day, right? Back in the day, after the bombing down in Oklahoma City,
Hmm?
yeah, they did start checking things and people who bought certain chemicals and stuff like that.
Boston Marathon still happened.
Yeah, I get it.
So are we gonna start restricting purchases
Fertilizer?
of certain types of products that are potentially
Fertilizers and crock pots.
pipes,
Yeah, or like rope, shovels, what you need
conduit,
to bury a body.
or plant a flower and hang up something?
You're gonna get blacklisted.
I'm gonna get blacklisted. Mac, one of our guys at the office, got blacklisted on buying ammo and has to get.
Oh, because he bought the green tip.
He bought the wrong kind of ammo, not paying attention to what
just the tip?
was just a tip.
Mhm.
I have a shirt that says just a tip.
I promise.
I promise. So you want to be careful. So I want to test people. We're not talking about bombings. What have we done to prevent bombings?
Yeah.
We trust that our military, our government, our intelligence is paying attention to the chatter out there. What I have learned, when you're a kid, you think that you're safe. And as you get older, you learn the imperfections of life and people and trust and quality and integrity and all that kind of stuff. What I have learned is our government really isn't that good. It really doesn't know, or they just hide it. But when I watch an Alec Baldwin situation come out and we still don't have it resolved and we still don't have the people talking, what are we really
just
doing?
Gonna fade into the background.
That's what we're gonna do. Tune in. 2 weeks, folks.
Have a great night. Thank you for
Listen,
tuning in.
we want to thank our number one listener, our number one gal. You got caught in her crosshairs today.
Yeah.
Kiki, thanks for coming in. Wonderful having
Thank
you
you.
here. Tomorrow's
Thank you for
busy day
having me.
for us here, 21-6. Of course, the grounds in the morning. We've got
Good show.
Bridging Civil Tension. We've got Living Low Sodium. We've got the Neighborhood Pulse. We've got In the Know with Steph and Joe. And tomorrow night, everybody, you got to tune in 8 p.m. sharp. The Dream Home Experts are coming live from the brand new quite cool studio down south. It's gonna be a good time. Hey, we appreciate everybody chiming in. We appreciate everybody's thoughts and concerns. That's what this show's all about, is just getting good conversation out there to help everybody think a little bit clearer. For all of us here, 21-6 the net. Thanks, Tammy, even though we haven't met.
Mom.
I love you. Have a great evening, everybody. Let's play the music and get out of here.